Good morning, students. Yesterday, History, Unit 6, Early Revolt against British rule in Tamilnadu. Yesterday, I took the proclamation of 1801 and then Dhiran Chinnamalai. I took. Finally, English East India Company was victorious. Dhiran Chinnamalai was defeated and hanged. The Dhiran Chinnamalai was hanged. After that, the English East India Company was having the powerful. So, the Vellore Revolt were started. The Vellore Revolt was started in 1806. Initially, the causes for the Vellore Revolt of 1806. Listen here carefully, students. The English East India Company treated the Sepoys very badly. The Sepoys were suffered a lot. The Indian Sepoys, particularly the Indian Sepoys, suffered a lot. The English East India Company treated cruelly on Indian Sepoys. The Indian Sepoys' salary were very low. Low salary were provided to the Indian Sepoys compared to the English East India Company officers. The rank, the Indian Sepoys were given the higher rank only the Subedar. Subedar only the higher rank were provided to the Indian Sepoys. No more higher posts were provided to the Indian Sepoys. But all the higher posts were goes to English East India Company. Officer posts were provided to the English East India Company. The Indian Sepoys were lower in a position. The salaries were very low. They suffered a lot. The Indians, peasants and soldiers were levied tax by the English East India Company. The tax were levied on Indian Sepoys and also the peasants. The peasants and the Indian Sepoys not unable to pay the tax to the English East India Company. The land tenures were fixed to the Indian peasants. They were not unable to pay the taxes to the English East India Company. In 1805, the famine were broke out. The famine. Famine means Panjam. Because of economically backward in a position, economically not able to grow in India. So famine were occurred. The people were unable to get the basic needs during that time. The Sepoys' family were suffered a lot and they were below poverty line, living below poverty line. The Sepoy family were lived in below poverty line during that time. The English East India Company ordered the Indian Sepoys Do not smear the caste marks on the forehead. The caste marks were prohibited to the Indian sepoys. And Muslims, English East India Company prohibited the Muslims to shave their beard and also trim their mustaches. So both Hindus and Muslims angered against the British because of the caste mark. Hindus were wearing the caste marks on the forehead. It was prohibited by the British, and Muslims were grown the beard and mustaches. But the English East India Company ordered the sepoys to shave the beard and also trim their mustaches. It was recentered on English East India Company. Both Hindus and Muslims joined together and fought against the English East India Company. The most important cause for the Vellore Revolt of 1806 was the new turban were introduced by the English East India Company. The new turban want to wear all the sepoys, but it was leather cocked made of animal skin. That new turban, leather cocked made of animal skin. But both Hindus and Muslims avoid to wear that particular new turban. The English East India Company forced Indian sepoys and must wear these new turban. So both Indians and also English East India Company were fought against each other. The Vellore Revolt was started in 1806. Outbreak of the revolt. On 10th July 1806, all the Indians were joined together and declared war on English East India Company. The colonial fan court belonged to British, commanded the troops and fought against the Indians. And Indians were suffered a lot. The colonial fan court were victorious during that time. So again the Indian sepoys fought against the English. During that time, Colonel Mackerras of 23rd Regiment was killed by the Indian sepoys. After that, the Major Armstrong belonged to the English East India Company, heard the sound of firing. He was in the Vellore fort. At that time, he heard the sound of firing outside of the fort. Many officers were killed during that time by the Indian sepoys. Gillespie's brutality. The Major Coates belonged to English East India Company, who was in outside. At that time, he was not able to fight against the Indian sepoys. So, Major Coates informed to Colonel Gillespie. Gillespie reached the Vellore fort along with his captain Young. Gillespie along with his captain, reached the Vellore fort and they fought against the rebels. At that time, the rebels were proclaimed. Proclaimed means announced. The rebels were proclaimed. Fateh Haidar, Tipu's eldest son. Tipu's eldest son, Fateh Haidar, was the ruler of the India. In that Vellore. At that time, Fateh Haidar was the ruler, Tipu's eldest son was the ruler. They declared, Sipais were declared. So, all the Sipais joined together and hoist the flag, tiger flag on the fort, Vellore fort. Colonel Gillespie crushed the revolt. Sipais were suffered a lot and 800 Sipais were died and 600 put to Vellore and Trichy prison. Consequences of revolt. After the Vellore revolt, English East India Company was victorious. The 6 rebels of the Indian 6 rebels were, summons were provided, call for the court, enquiry, call for the enquiry. 6 Sipais were shot dead and 8 of them were hanged. Tipu's sons were sent to Kolkata prison. Colonel Gillespie was given 7,000 pakodas during that time. Note the estimate of revolt. The revolt of 1806, Vellore revolt was failed because of there is no outside support during that time to the Sipais. So, Sipais were unable to victorious during that time. The English East India Company victorious. They suppressed the Indian Sipais. The Vellore revolt was one of the prelude of First War of Indian Independence in 1857. The 1857 First War of Indian Independence was started, or the Great Revolt, or the Sipai Mutiny were started in 1857. This was the Vellore Revolt was the prelude of the First War of Indian Independence. Note it, students. Listen, students. Once again, I am going to recall Vellore Revolt. Causes for the Vellore Revolt. In 1806, Vellore Revolt was started. English East India Company treated the Sipais very badly. The salary of the Sipais were very low, and the rank also. Subedar only provided the higher rank to the Indian Sipais. All the higher post goes to British. So the English East India Company levied the tax on the Indian Sipais and the peasants. They were not unable to pay the taxes. The land tenures were fixed to the Indian peasants. They were unable to pay the money to the English East India Company. In 1805, famine were occurred. Many people were suffered a lot, and Sipai family were poverty stricken. Sipai family were poverty stricken during that time. Poverty means varuman. Then the caste mobs. The English East India Company ordered the Indian Sipais not to wear the smear on the forehead. The caste marks not smear on the forehead. But, and also the Muslims, all the Sipais want to shave their beard and trim their mustaches. Both Hindus and Muslims were resented on the English East India Company because of the Hindus were sacred for the smearing the caste mark on the forehead, and Muslims grow their beard and mustaches. This was prohibited by the English East India Company. So, both Hindus and Muslims angered against the British. Finally, the new turban were introduced by the English East India Company. This turban must wear all the Indian sepoys. In this turban, consists of leather cockade made of animal skin. Both Hindus and Muslims were avoided to use this turban. So, Vellore Revolt was started in between Indian sepoys and also English East India Company. Outbreak of the revolt. On 10th July 1806, the revolt was started. More and more Indians were joined against the British English East India Company. The Colonel Fancourt commanded the troops and defeated the Indian sepoys. The Indian sepoys boldly fought against the English East India Company. The Colonel Macaras of 23rd Regiment was killed by the Indian sepoys. The Major Armstrong heard a sound of firing during that time. The Indian sepoys were fired on the fort, outside of the fort. But Major Armstrong heard the sound of firing outside of the fort. Many officers were killed during that time. Gillespie's brutality. Major Coates, who was in outside, the Vellore Revolt was started, and Major Coates informed the Colonel Gillespie to proceed this war, Vellore Revolt, and Colonel Gillespie was reached the Vellore fort along with his Captain Young. The rebels, all the rebels joined together and proclaimed the Tipu's eldest son, Fateh Hyder, was a ruler. They hoisted the tiger flag on the fort, Vellore fort. Colonel Gillespie crushed the revolt. 800 sepoys were died. 600 sepoys were put into the Vellore and Trichy prison. Consequences of revolt. After the Vellore revolt, English East India Company was victorious. So the Indian sepoys, 6 rebels were called for enquiry, and 5 of them were shot dead, and 8 of the sepoys were hanged. Tipu's sons were sent to the Kolkata prison, and Colonel Gillespie was given 7,000 pagodas. Estimate of revolt. The revolt of 1806 was failed. The Vellore revolt of 1806 was failed because of there was no one support goes to Indian sepoys. So this was the 1806 Vellore revolt was the one of the prelude of first war of Indian independence, or the Great Revolt, or the Mutiny. Noted. Okay then, see you tomorrow, students.